Okay, hi guys, I'm Caroline Bishop and I'm in Miss Saunders' 10:30 speech class and my speech is on caffeine. So, imagine this. You're in your 7:30 morning class and first of all, you can barely keep your eyes open anyway, but to make matters worse, time just changed like yesterday. So last week, this would have been 6:30 in the morning. And on top of that, it's trigonometry. Like no one wants to be in trig in the first place, but the fact that it's 7:30, 6:30 in the morning makes matters like 10 times worse. Wait, I'm so sorry. We're in quarantine at this point. Disregard all of that. It's 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. You've done none of your schoolwork over the past week, and so your mom barges into your room and she's screaming at you, and she's making you do your schoolwork at 8 in the morning on a Saturday of all days. And so the first thing you do, or first thing I would do, is go to the kitchen and get a cup of coffee. Now, I like coffee, so the taste of it like wakes me up, but the actual coffee itself doesn't really wake me up. It's the caffeine in the coffee. Now, I think we all have like a general understanding of what caffeine is. It's something that wakes you up. It kind of like makes you feel better. It increases your brain activity and productivity. It's just most of the time it's generally beneficial to what you need to do. But caffeine is actually a derivative of methylxanthine that can be found in certain plants worldwide. It is a stimulant to the central nervous system and it causes short as well as long-term effects on the human body. According to Dr. Sergi Fair, the use of the coffee bean seems to have originated in Yemen around 1450 AD or Common Era, whatever it is now. The usage of tea leaves as a beverage dates as far back as 3000 BC, and the usage of cocoa beans can be found as far back as 600 BC. But it was probably used before then because it can only be traced by remnants on Mayan vessels. And out of those three, coffee beans contain the most caffeine at 95 to 200 milligrams of caffeine per 1 8-ounce cup of coffee. Tea comes in not a close second, but still a second, with 14 to 70 milligrams of caffeine per 1 8-ounce cup of tea. And cocoa comes in last, but certainly not least, with only 15 milligrams of caffeine per 1 8-ounce cup of brewed cocoa. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't drink brewed cocoa. I don't think I know anyone that does, but apparently some people do, and I'm just like, more power to you. According to the New World Encyclopedia, New World Encyclopedia, caffeine is used to treat migraines because it constricts dilated blood vessels and thereby reduces the pain of the headache. It also increases the potency of analgesics such as aspirin and ibuprofen. So whenever you have a migraine and you take an Excedrin, it has both aspirin and caffeine in it. So the caffeine kind of kills two birds with one stone because it's constricting the blood vessels as well as increasing the potency of the aspirin in the Excedrin. So it helps increase the potency, so it increases the effect of the aspirin, but it also constricts the blood vessels that reduces the pain of the headache. On top of that, caffeine can also somewhat relieve asthma attacks by widening the bronchial airways. So whenever you're nervous about that speech that you were going to have to give, but you don't have to anymore because you're in quarantine, you can just drink a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and the caffeine in it should help loosen your airways. According to Dr. Shadab Ahmed, caffeine consumption increases our energy expenditure and decreases our energy intake. So this means that it increases the amount of energy our body uses, but at the same time, it decreases the amount of energy our body has coming in because we're not necessarily eating a lot whenever we drink caffeine, since we're not necessarily eating whenever we drink caffeine, but if we eat cocoa, then. Anyway, it decreases the amount that we have, but it uses up a lot of energy in our bodies. So that can make you lose weight, and while we view that as a good thing, it is an unhealthy way to lose weight because it mimics anorexic weight loss. So that's not really good, but caffeine can also slow the rate at which nutrients are absorbed in the bloodstream, and since it's a diuretic, it also slows the rate of fluid absorption, which can cause dehydration, especially during exercise. So while caffeine has a lot of beneficial qualities to it, I would not personally recommend eating or drinking it in bulk because it may have, or it may or not have, but mostly it probably would have negative short as well as long-term effects on your body. So whatever you do, just be careful whenever you drink massive amounts of caffeine.